This is probably the most important thing that we can think about and talk about. So I'll put some stuff I've been practicing on the screen and we'll talk about it. So when I'm talking to students, one of the biggest concerns, one of the biggest struggles is, I know what to do, I want to do it, I want to do this practice, I'm just struggling to actually get myself to do it. You know, in the moment, I'm struggling to sit down and just do drawing and do painting. And I've been thinking about that, and also the fact that I want to use my phone less. I don't want to use my phone, I don't like using it so much, and it's hard, it's a struggle to stop using it. So it makes no sense. Why is it hard to do something we want to do and hard to stop doing something we don't want to do? But then it kind of does make sense when you think that there's all these really clever people with loads of money working full time to make this device and the apps inside really addictive and make those habits really easy to form. They are constantly trying to make it like friction-free, like easier to start using, more rewarding in some sort of weird way when you do use it, like little dopamine hits or whatever it is. And they're personalizing it. So the way that they might get me hooked on this might be different to how they get other people hooked on it. And so are we putting in that kind of effort and expertise to nurture the habit that we actually want? And if not, it makes sense, right? And the standard way of getting yourself to draw and paint, at least for me, was I'll be like, why aren't you drawing and painting more, man? You know, you suck because you're not practicing. Ugh, you didn't even practice today. You suck. And then that is not effective, obviously. That's really off-putting, and you just kind of go, ugh. Yeah, and then this is really, you know, enticing and easy to get into. So then you start to think, okay, it does make sense. They're putting in a lot of effort to form that habit that I don't want, and I'm putting in no effort to really nurture the habit that I do want, so actually it does make sense that I'm doing one and not the other. So how could we nurture this drawing and painting habit? The number one principle to think about, for me at least, and I got this from Mark Freeman, who's got a really good YouTube channel, is he talks about mental health habits, but we're going to talk about it for drawing and painting. He talks about it like a garden. So he's like, you know, if you don't water and look after the garden, don't be surprised if the garden doesn't do well. I usually like to, when I'm talking to students, to switch this to like a little animal that you're looking after, because it's like even more like emotive and you really want to look after a cute little animal. And it's like, well, if you just shout at this animal, you know, criticizing it, but you don't learn what it needs, like what kind of food it needs, how, water, etc., and you don't give it any kind of care, then don't be surprised if it dies. Like, don't be surprised if you're not practicing, if you're not nurturing this little practice habit animal. So I have been able to nurture my practice habit little furry creature, and it works. It really works. The proof is this. This is my ultimate proof, all right, is my ultimate metric. At the end of the day, I've got two small kids, I put them down for bed, I'm so tired and exhausted. Part of me is like, let's turn on the TV, but what would be even more enjoyable and relaxing than turning on the TV is sketching. Now for me, that would have sounded mad a few years ago, because I found sketching a bit stressful, a bit high pressure, and nowhere near as sort of easy to slip into as turning on a TV or scrolling on my phone. But now it is, because I've made it that way. I've nurtured it. Like the weirdos who make all the apps in these phones, I've actually tried to make myself hooked on this thing. So how did I do that? Number one, my thing, like what they do with all our data, is I personalized it to me. So what works for you will depend, you have to get to know yourself a little bit. So I knew that I needed a couple of things. Number one, I needed it to be incredibly convenient to just slip into this thing. And so I've got a setup. I've got a picture here of the insane setup that I have, but I got like a watercolor palette, And I made the watercolor palette this big one that I really liked so that it's easy to slip into that. And I put it right there, it's very convenient. I got the Huion Kamvas tablet, which I really like, and it's really big and it has a really nice screen in it. And it's very pleasant to use. It's a high quality thing. And I find it easy to slip into just using that. And then I put it on the Ergotron arm because then I can just pull it like whoosh, like this, really easily pull it down and start drawing in Clip Studio or whatever. And so the Huion Kamvas, which is like a good tablet and a good arm to pull it down, makes it very convenient and pleasant to just start doing that. When it was on the iPad, it was just also a great experience, but for me personally, it was just a little bit too small, and I didn't have an arm thing for that, so it was just a bit awkward, and then I just found I just wasn't using it. So it just has to be so easy. And then I've got this thing where I pull in my newsprint. So for sketching with a charcoal pencil, I just pull that in, super convenient and easy. So I'm just making this setup as easy and simple as possible so I can start. This is part of making this habit, right? The equivalent on here is like the facial recognition thing, so that you don't even need to type a code. It's so easy to get started in a horrible way, right? And I want to try and increase the friction in using this and decrease it for the stuff I want to do, like drawing and painting. But even more important than the setup, I have created 3 types of practice to suit the different versions of myself that exist through the week. So I know that there are points in the week where I'm just so tired and I cannot be bothered to learn something. So I'm not going to try and learn anything new. Sometimes I'm talking to students and all they do is hammer away at these difficult exercises. And I'm like, sometimes you should do stuff, just practice stuff that you already kind of know. Like, let's say you've practiced a bit of perspective, you put some stuff on your coffee table and you draw it. You don't think about it too much, you just try and draw it in perspective. You can throw it away later if you like, and you're just sketching. Then, so there's the type of practice you do when you're tired and you don't want to learn anything new. Then those moments where you're hyped up to learn something new, you can do those difficult exercises. But then there's those, once a week or something, I'm like, I want to just make the art that I want to make. I want to make the illustration or whatever. And I feel like I don't have all the skills yet to do that, but I'm just going to try. And I'm going to accept that it's not going to look great, but I'm going to try. And that is really fun, and it helps me understand why I need to do the exercises. So I've got 3 types of practice, right? To help. This is all part of nurturing this little practice habit, is knowing these things about myself and then designing this experience to be really good. If you need a plan that can show you where you're trying to go and how best to get there, check out our free customizable plan. It helps you figure out what to practice, what order to practice it in, and most importantly, it asks you the right questions to build a really strong practice habit. It's free and it's customizable to you and your specific needs and circumstances. So it's really cool. It's called My Art Journey. Check out the link below. A big factor for me when I was drawing and painting is this sense of these judgmental people watching me over my shoulder and going, oh, wow, you really suck at this. That looks bad. And obviously that's really off-putting, and when you're just like scrolling or something, there's this like, no, it's so passive, there's no one kind of judging you, I guess, like while you do it. And so I needed to get rid of this. So a couple of things I did. Again, this is just for me personally. I realized that if I put the sketches in the bin straight after the session, I mentally know no one's going to see this, and the outcome, the drawings themselves don't really matter. It's just about doing it, doing the practice. So for me, that was really, really helpful. Some people have like a secret sketchbook where it's like, no one's going to see it. So when you're doing your practice, you can make a total mess. It could be a disaster. No one's ever going to see it. It doesn't matter. No, don't be self-conscious. It's okay, you know? Different things, again, work for different people. Another skill that I had to like consciously build was to notice and find the things that are good in my drawings. All right, so most people, I think, lean towards seeing the things that are wrong. And you just go, hey, that looks really good. And they go, oh, I think it sucks because of this one little thing. And you can't get past this problem, right? And I have that too. I know I have that. And so I have to sort of consciously work against that and notice the things that are good and be kind of, it's more realistic, right? It's more objective to not be biased towards the negative. And so to be more balanced, okay, I see the negative, but I'm also taking time to see the positives and see the things that I like about my stuff. And a final thing, this is something that, this is again just me, I love a lot of different things. I love a lot of different materials. Like I said, I like the digital painting, I like the watercolors, I like the charcoal pencil and stuff like that. And I like figure drawing, I like portrait drawing, I like to do illustrations, I like to do landscapes. And so I should, you know, narrow it down and not just do all these things that I love. But I've kind of realized that for me, it's really useful to have all these things that I love and to let myself just do them. And then, you know, if I sit down and go, you know, I can't be bothered to do my, you know, this portrait exercise that I should be doing. Like, I kind of just want to like draw this, do this kind of illustration idea I roughly have and just do that, you know, just let myself do the fun thing that I want to do. So a really good goal with all of this is, can I put in enough of these elements to where I look forward to just sitting down and drawing and painting? It's more fun and enjoyable and even relaxing than turning on the TV, and more enticing than the phone or whatever it is that you don't really want to be doing. Can you design it and adjust it and customize it to yourself so that it's the best thing, and do that as a project? What can I do and what can I stop doing? Like, stop yelling at myself, but what can I do to make it really enticing? And then you have this measure, this metric, right? On this, it's like watch time or whatever, or hours addicted. But your one would be, is this the thing that I just want to do when I'm tired and I can't be asked? And I just go, oh, I just can't be asked. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to draw and paint because I just love that so much. And if you can do that, then that's really, really critical to this whole endeavor, and it makes it all so much easier, I think. And just as a side note, there are other ways of doing this. So another way would be you sort of pin your entire family's future on your income from your art and become so stressed and desperate to make it work that you obsessively create art in this really stressed out way. It is, and a lot of people got good that way. You know, I'm not going to say it's wrong or anything, but probably less enjoyable than what I've described in this video. Another way is to sort of pin all your self-worth on how many likes you get on Instagram, or how sort of much people praise you and stuff like that. And so you go, oh, if I don't draw better, people won't be impressed with me, and then I won't, you know. And so, and that can work too. And those things kind of are built around, you know, driven by fear and stuff like that, which is, it could work. It's a bit more risky because it's more volatile, right? That kind of stuff, it's not as sustainable. You could burn out or have a breakdown or something. It's also really dependent on other people, right? Other people paying you or other people liking what you're doing. So those are other ways. I think the way that I've described in this video, though, is a really enjoyable and really effective way of making this whole thing work. So I do have another video about how to stay consistent with your practice, which I think is pretty good. So check it out. And I'll see you over there, and I hope that you do the stuff you want to do and don't do the stuff you don't want to do. I'm going to do my best as well. All right, see you later.